Hi everyone, this is the Flowbyte Endless Runner tutorial video 4. Last video we were able to put in obstacles as well as player damage and a health bar. This video we will be concentrating on a basic score system as well as starting the pickups. First thing to get going, just like the health panel, we'll be able to go into the Flowbyte UI folder and just drag in the score panel. In regards to the hierarchy within the UI canvas, we've put the score panel above the health bar so that it's behind the health bar. You also may need to adjust the score panel within your scene, so just set that to whatever you prefer. So once that's adjusted, just quickly check it in the game view, and it looks good for now. We're then going to go into the score panel prefab itself and just script. So within this script you have a few different components. Some of these don't need to be filled in just yet. We can do that down the line. Right now we're just concentrating on the main score, which you can see within the scene view currently. Score number and text have already been created for you. One is the title, which is the score text, and the score number is the current score being shown in your game view. We then have an option for if you have a weapon and using ammo, you just tick that to true and the text will apply correctly. If you didn't have a text or wanted to change that or anything, you could create your own and then just drag it into the script itself in the correct component. For the way that this works, we are doing a time-based or speed-based score, so it either goes up every second or based on your player's speed. So what we're doing is going to create an empty game object, and within that game object we're going to hold the score counter. For the score counter you want to just add the timer event script. Now the way that this works, you drag in your player controller and it will be registering your player's speed, or it will be counting up in seconds. The standalone time is a reference number, so for the most part we keep this as 1 for 1 second. The timer amount can be set as 1, but if you set it to speed based, this will go down based on what your player's current speed is. That's where the thresholds come in. 1 is 15, and then it goes to 30, then 45, etc, etc. The threshold amounts are measured between your player speed or your boost speed. Sometimes at the start from 0 to 30, that's your player speed, but then the boost speed takes care of everything else. We'll go into how to change these thresholds and add more variation in a later video, but for the time being, this will do. So within this script, we have the ability to add score. So you'll notice there is an on-timer turnover event. We want to be able to add the score action script. This is what's responsible for calling the score functions, either resetting, subtracting, adding, and some other methods. So open up a new event, and you will be able to drag in that script and then go into that script within that event and choose add points. At this stage you can add in whatever number you like. We're just going to do 1 for the time being every time the counter turns over 1 second. You can then save the scene and hit play, and you should find the score is going up every second. The next part is just adjusting the speed-based score. Currently it won't work until we go into the score panel and drag in the player controller. And once you've done that, you should find the timer amount will go down based on each threshold amount. So because we've got it so low, it went down very quickly, but we're just going to set that back to 15, 30, and 45. You can always change this to whatever you like. Now that the basic score system is in, we're just going to create the first collectible. But to do that, we're going to need something to spawn collectibles. So you can do this 2 different ways. You can create an empty game object inside or outside the player, it doesn't really matter. In this case, we're going to do it inside the player. So then what you want to do is add the following script, the random object creation script. This has a few different options. If you choose spawn random location, you will need multiple spawn locations. For the single location, this is just spawning from one individual spot, so you can use the spawner itself and just drag it out in front of the player. You also may need to adjust the height on the Y scale so that the collectibles aren't spawning halfway through the floor, but we do cover this in the following script. So just to show you how the spawn random location works, we're going to create two empty game objects and then put them within the drop down list for the random spawn points. Then we will put those two different game objects within different locations and we'll tick spawn random location on. They will spawn randomly between the two, and you can add as many of these locations as you like. The minimum and maximum timer are the time between choosing when to create a pickup. So in this case it's 1 to 3, which means every 1 to 3 seconds it'll create something. If you want it to be a solid number, then make it the minimum and maximum timer the same number. Then you have the object list. Your collectibles you create and drag them in, they will create randomly between this list. So the first collectible we're doing is the speed boost. This is going to allow the character to activate his speed boost when he hits it. This is a simple sphere collider that's a trigger, and then the main important script, the trigger event script. This script will turn off the mesh and destroy after triggered at 0.2 seconds. You also have a audio source component to play sounds through from a sound list. You can also play a particle effect if you attach it and parent it to that speed boost. You're allowed to call in a number of events within the trigger event. So just as an example, you can add points if you hit this trigger. We're not going to do that as we do that for the coins though, but it's the same premise. You always need to add a rigid body and make it is kinematic for the trigger to work. We also added in a wait and destroy time as a safety check, so if your player misses, it will destroy itself after roughly 5 to 10 seconds depending on what you have once it's spawned in. The other thing is to make sure that your speed boost is actually tagged to speed boost. This is all case sensitive and it's buried within the code. In a later video we'll show you how to change these tags to whatever you might like, as well as add more in and have different results. The next script we're going to add is the keep distance script. This is very similar to the way that the camera works. It follows its target and you set its tag. If you set the tag, it should actually go straight to it if you set it to something like player. You can lock the y-axis, and the reason that we have this is if your player jumps up and you want the spawn collectible to be on the ground, this will keep it at that exact level. You check the box to true and set the y-axis number to wherever you like, and it will stay there whenever it spawns in. So now you'll never find collectibles just randomly in the air when you're jumping. Then we've just found that the speed boost we're dragging in it currently is very large, so we're just going to fix this up. And if you want to fix this up as well, you just go into the speed boost on the player and adjust the 3D size within each particle effect. We also just want to tick off the play on awake function so it doesn't play at the starting of the game. The speed boost slowdown is a little bit low at the moment, so we're just going to adjust this to what we desire. This is completely up to you, but we want a short burst when we hit the speed boost collectible. So to change this, we're just going to go into the player and adjust the boost slowdown to something like 0.2 for now. Another thing is that you probably noticed that when you're boosting, the player's health won't go down if you collide into an obstacle. This is because within the script that we've written, while boosting actually disables the ability to receive damage. So in a later video we'll show you how to change this if you want the speed boost to not affect the obstacle this way. So that actually finishes up this video for now. In the next one we're going to cover the rest of the collectibles, the ammo, the health and the coins, as well as we're going to also cover the restart and game over panel, so you can successfully go through a full game, restart and play again. And thanks for watching.